Welcome back to Bleeding Iron Episode 2. Episode 3, you fucking idiot, where I alone will be playing the Ironsworn system as Thorgan Bearmark. So, what happened last time? Thorgan managed to free his brother from the clutches of the zealous raider group called the Mitan by lying to them about an ancient artifact and where to find it. After leaving the firstborn ruined fortress of Borbrook, Thorgan undertook a perilous journey with a newly found group. During this journey, a beast of the ancient world, a chimera, attacked the group and splintered it. During the chase, Thorgan had to sacrifice one of the prisoners he had freed. Although the distraction was successful, a life was lost, and a wedge was put between the two brothers. After returning to Brokenhelm, Thorgan found that his town had been taken over by the Mitan, for safekeeping as they put it, but everyone knows it's a lie. After resting for a few days recuperating, Kainen's younger brother finally confronted Kainen, forcing him to swear an iron vow and break the family's curse. The vow that Thorgan took from his father, but never really started to fulfill, until now. One thing changed from the last session. I spent the experience we had gained in the quest to advance our Wayfinder asset, which now gives us when you secure an advantage or gather information by carefully surveying the landscape or scouting ahead, add +1 and take +1 momentum on a hit. So what about this vow? Our new vow that has moved up from extreme to epic is called Lift the Bearmark Curse, and it has to do something with our family and the spear that has been passed down from father to son. However, we cannot start this journey until we are sure that nothing will happen to Brokenhelm and our younger brother. The town is under watch by the Mitan, and it's only a matter of time until they find out the magical artifact is not where Thorgan said it would be. And then all the people would suffer. They would get killed. So we need to get our people to safety. How do we do that? Thorgan, as he reopens the scar of the previous vow of lifting the Bearmark curse and vows to his brother of completing this quest, he then looks at his younger brother. We need to get the people of Brokenhelm out of here first. I can't leave you. I lied to Cairo, and when he understands that I lied, he will come after you. So the two brothers start to devise a plan. They come to the main hall and begin to talk to people. Most of them are still here, as all of the buildings have been mostly ruined. Some are working on rebuilding, but with the Mitan men all around watching, nobody feels safe. And the town hall seems to be the safest place where no Mitan are present. We gather around a crackling fire in the center and begin to talk with everyone. We need to get out. You're not safe here. And after a long speech, Thorgan takes his spear and cuts a small incision on his forearm. I swear now a vow. He swears a vow. Get the people of Brokenhelm to safety. And this will be a dangerous quest. So, the people all agree, whisper, and there is an tense feeling but also hope of escaping these raiders that have been plaguing the town for now a couple of days. Is there a settlement nearby? Yes, there is. What is this settlement called? Redwick. Redwick is strange and blighted. Fits the name kind of, Redwick. Doesn't sound healthy. And maybe it's blighted because it's mostly inland. Let's put it there, in the deeps of the flooded lands. So as we say this speech and everyone starts to murmur, the blood trickles down our hairy forearms, and we swear an iron vow. We have a +1 with this community, so we get a modifier. It's a weak hit. On a weak hit, you are determined, but begin your quest with more questions than answers. Take +1 momentum and envision what you do to find a path forward. So I think we have a destination, we know where to head, but the problem is the Mitan men. They're watching us every single hour of the day, some, even in the night, and we need to do something about Nasus, this commander, and his men. As we begin to talk with folk, some of the older folk, the warriors, they begin to rowdy. We need to kill him. they'll just follow us. Some don't want any bloodshed and they just want to try to sneak out, and a ruckus breaks out. Thorgan turns to Bruce, who's still weak from all the torture back at Borbrook. What do you think? I think we need a distraction. And Thorgan thinks. Snaps his fingers. I have an idea. And we have almost like a silent montage of Thorgan talking to people, going over plans, everyone preparing, packing their backpacks, and Thorgan, during the night, he heads out into Broken Helm and towards the docks. He's going to set fire to the boats that the Mitan men came by. That will be our distraction. We approach the docks and we need to look if there are any guards, if they're patrolling. We need an opening so we can set fire to these boats. We will roll, gather information. Can Kynan help us? Sure, I'll send Kynan to sniff around, to, look. He's a mutt, he's a dog, so he won't be as suspicious as Thorgan walking around and snooping. What do we get? A strong hit. Very good. Do we get anything on a strong hit? +1 to momentum. And you discover something helpful. +2 momentum. We're up to 5. Okay, so we notice Kynan going sniffing around. We notice some of the guards aren't as inhumane as we thought. And like Kynan, some of them are quite drunk and nobody's in the boats. And we have an opening. We'll need to sneak just besides the docks and send Kynan to distract them. Kynan, go and distract them. Go play with them, okay? And he sends Kynan to play. And he runs off, and we see some of the guards half drunkenly starting to, be rowdy, make some noise so it's easier for us. And they're not looking at the boats. So now we will try to secure an advantage with Shadow and sneak onto the boat, set it on fire, and get away, which Shadow is not our strong suit. A weak hit. Your advantage is short-lived. Take +1 momentum. We take out our tinderbox and we see some of dry hempen rope in the boat. We also brought some dry birch pieces. We throw it on and we start to try and spark it, and it doesn't give. And one guard maybe turns around and sees a dark silhouette, and we hear, "Hey, who's in there?" Kind of, he's drunk. And now we get the guard's attention, and shit. And we spark it at the last second, and the fire gives, and we run through the streets. Some of the guards go to the boat, trying to extinguish the fire that's catching quickly. Some of us start to chase us. Where does the majority of the guards go? Does the majority of the guards go after me? No. Good. Okay, so there are less guards. Maybe there's only a few, 2, trying to go after us. And Kynan is running with them, and they're like, "Go away, Mutt, go. Time for playing is over." And they run off, and as Thorgan turns the corner, he waits, he clenches his fist, and as soon as the guards run the corner, Thorgan will initiate combat. He'll try to take him out. A battle. We'll try to deck out one and subdue the other, as Kynan also helps us. This will be using iron, because we're initiating close quarters combat. A miss. I'm going to burn momentum. Damn it. It's down to 2. It's a weak hit. You achieved your objective, but not without cost. Pay the price. What is the price? Your action has unintended effect. As Thorgan punches one and immediately takes him out unconscious, the other begins to struggle, and he pulls out a knife and tries to stab us from behind, but he's just swinging wildly. We wrestle him down on the ground, and as we do, we actually pin him, which gives us more leverage, but he manages to stab us. And we'll take 1 damage, and we'll endure harm. Our heart is higher, so we'll roll with heart. It's a weak hit. We press on. We just take the damage, but we managed to subdue him. He didn't wound Thorgan in any severe spot and we choke him out. He falls unconscious without any air. And we quickly look around. We see one boat has caught on fire quite severely, and the other is starting to catch as the tied together sail is starting to catch fire, and the guards are shouting, sounding alarms. We hear chaos as more and more Mitan men start to gather around the boats, and that was the cue for our people. As soon as the guards pull away and are distracted, get out. So we start running to the southern wall of Broken Helm to meet with our folk. I think that earns us one checkpoint, as we made a distraction and we're just out of town. Not yet out of town, but we're heading out, and we meet up. As we meet up, Bruce sees the wound, checks if we're okay. I'm okay, let's just move. And Thorgan and his people move out into the floodlands, leaving the docks and the 2 boats burning, the Mitan men distracted. It's only a matter of time when they find out that we're gone. So we will undertake a journey, and I will not add +1 since we're leaving a community that we're bonded with, but the community is coming with us, which is harder. More people, the journey will be harder. Checking everyone, the young, the old, the sick, a weak hit. We suffer -1 supply, and we reach a waypoint. So the journey begins, and we begin to trek down. We need to constantly be looking back, looking at all the older folk, the slower folk, the wounded folk. We give out some rations, some bandages, as the first insect bites or even a snake bites some of our people, and we need to bandage and treat it. But we press on. Before we press on, I would like to use my asset and gather information by carefully surveying the landscape. Thorgan goes scouting with Kynan. He pushes ahead, leaving the more suitable warriors to look after the group while Thorgan is away, and he disappears into the depths of the marshes to gather information. And we'll add +2 since we're using Kynan, and we have the Wayfinder asset, a strong hit, and an opportunity. Great. We take +2 momentum for both the assets. On a strong hit, you discover something helpful. Yes, we do. And +2 momentum. We're up to +6 now. I'll mark 2 more, progress on the track, because as we scout ahead, we meet folk. And at first we're worried, but then we see the Redwick colors. Hunters, 2 of them. They seem to be hunting in the marshes. Who goes there? Are you from Redwick? I recognize those colors. And the hunters freeze for a second, but then they look around, look at us. They remove their hoods. They're kind of stringed together masks that protect the face from insects and mosquitoes. Yeah, we're from Redwick. Who are you? And we begin to introduce ourselves. We need help. I'm Thorgan. I'm leading my people from Broken Helm. We had a terrible raid attack, and we have raiders on our back. Could you help us, please? And since this is an opportunity, I think the hunters would agree. Of course, we were just heading back to Redwick either way, so you're free to join. How far are your people back? What is this F? Come with us, follow us. And they begin to slowly walk forward. As we head back to our group, we tell what we found, and we begin to fasten our pace and walk. And we finally catch up to the hunters, who aren't very friendly, but they definitely are guardian-like. Let's undertake the journey, as we still need to reach the destination. I will roll with a +1 modifier because we have the hunters escorting us. It is a weak hit. We suffer more supplies. We're down to +2, but we're up to 8 in the progress track. Although the hunters lead us, the day settles and night comes, and we need to rest. And as we do, we need to unpack some of our supplies. We need to find wood, but in the marshes it's hard to find dry wood, so we need to use our own supplies. We need to give out food for those who didn't pack or ate more. We need to tend to the wounded. But the good news is, next day, before noon, we should reach Redwick. Before we do, let's make camp, because we're making camp with supply, which isn't really that good. Burn momentum. Yeah, let's burn momentum. On a weak hit, choose one. Take +1 health. I think we'll add +1 health, because we're down to +4. Now we're up to +5. And as we get up in the morning, we feel a bit better rested, although we did sleep in the marshes and it stinks and it's wet. Our clothes are kind of damp from just taking in all the excess moisture in the air. But we rowdy everyone. The children are waking for their sleep, don't want to go, but the tired out women quicken them. The men set up perimeters, dress up, and we move out. It is a miss. Okay. Oh boy. Your actions have unintended effects. I just came up with what happens. As we begin to walk, and we walk for a couple of hours, and this bad feeling comes over Thorgan. We should be around Redwick by now. We should see it at least. And he goes to talk to the hunters at the front, and as he walks out, he doesn't see them. And he turns to the front kind of guard who's leading the people. Where did they go? The guard shrugs and says they told him to just go forward. They went scouting. And a bad feeling comes over Thorgan. Alright, just stop and stay here for half an hour. I'll go scouting. And stay on guard. Thorgan will go and scout. We'll take +2 since we're using Kynan, and kind of look out the surrounding area with our Wayfinder asset. It's a strong hit. Thorgan begins to slump through the swamp, and he starts to see faint smoke not far off in the direction the people of Broken Helm were heading. Kynan begins to growl, smelling something, and we start to approach stealthily, and we do see a small group of folk, and among them we see the 2 Redwick hunters. We see a small fire in a dug-up pit, and they're burning something. And we see that it's clothes, other stuff, and, oh god, bodies. And we look around, and this looks like a small, very ramshackle camp. We look closer to the 2 other folk there, and they're dressed in mismatched clothes. They're carrying weapons. Their teeth crooked. They look in very bad shape. But all of them have something in common. They seem to be friends, talking, going through somebody's stuff, a backpack, and then checking it in. And Thorgan recoils. They're bandits. How could I allow this to happen? They weren't Redwick hunters. They probably killed some and then dressed as them. Thorgan turns around and begins to slowly sneak away, but it's hard. The adrenaline is pumping in his head and his heart is thumping, and of course the water is making so much noise. He doesn't know if his people are safe, if maybe they're setting up an ambush, and these aren't only the bandits. There could be more. So I will say we face danger. We roll it with shadow as we try to sneak away. Yep, a miss. Let's pay the price. Causes a delay or puts us at a disadvantage. So I think Thorgan begins to kind of slump, and the bandits hear us. And they draw their weapons, look at Thorgan. Thorgan looks at them, and they begin to chase Thorgan. Both sides understanding that the charade is over. And Thorgan could be the next one going into the small fire, being burnt, his stuff being taken away from him. So, these will be Redwick hunters. Dangerous, our first proper combat. Oh boy. Let's enter the fray. At this point, I think we're ambushed, so we'll roll with wits. But we do have high wits, so let's hope. A weak hit. Okay. On a weak hit, choose. Bolster your position or prepare to act. Take initiative. I think we need momentum up to +6, and we go into combat. The hunters run up. The first 2 that we had talked to, they had bows, so they pull back and fire, and we need to dodge a strong hit. We'll take +1 momentum as we dive to the side and we say, Kynan, go! And we send Kynan running after one of in the back, and he starts to flank. The other two are running at us with an axe and a blade, and we steady ourselves, now half covered with blood as we rolled out the arrows. We would pull out the spear and we ready ourselves. We run forward, we step our feet deep into the ground, set the spear front, and we stand our ground, meeting the two ones. And we're not letting either of them leave our reach, and we're holding them at place and kind of batting their weapons away, trying to pierce their legs. But they are 2-on-1, and we're not attacking, we're more kind of in a defensive stance. We roll to face danger with iron, using our skirmisher effect, which says, when you face danger by holding a foe at bay using your spear's reach, roll iron or edge. It is a miss. Not good. Pay the price. It is stressful. Okay, we take spirit damage. We endure stress with our heart. Strong hit. Choose one. Shake it off. We take +1 momentum. We're up to +8. And I think we hesitate too long and we lose initiative. We clash again, but now with iron. We have them at our front and they can't really shoot because the two are standing in front and they don't want to hit their own. It's a weak hit, but we can burn momentum for a strong one. I will burn the momentum, take a strong hit. We inflict harm. We inflict 2 harm, which is 2 progress per 1 harm, so 4 progress in total. We take an advantage. We feint using our actual natural kind of hesitation, and as one of them attacks, we move to the side, take the spear and drive it into his belly, push him off with one of our legs, and then slash with a kind of spear movement, and we manage to slash the other across the face, severely wounding one. We have initiative, so I will strike again, trying to take out the remaining one. Weak hit. We inflict our harm, which is 2 more, but we lose initiative, and we see as the 2 bowmen start to shoot at us, start to shoot at Kynan, and we clash. I will roll edge, since both of us, Kynan and me, are dodging arrows. A weak hit. We don't have much progress left, and I think we inflict harm, as the move says. We dodge out. We manage to dodge some arrows, but not all. We take some damage. Kynan also gets nicked and takes some damage, but he manages to jump on one of them and begins to snarl, growl, bite, starts ripping away pieces of him, biting deep and kind of tossing his arms around, and he begins to scream. And all of this bloodshed and Thorgan just slaughtering the 2 other hunters. The 4th one breaks morale and just begins to run. Kynan will be at +3, and we need to endure harm. A weak hit. We press on, nothing special. We would need a strong hit, but we've reached the full track of the progress bar, so I will say that was our strong hit. And yeah, it's a strong hit. This foe is no longer in the fight, so he ran off, breaking morale, trying to hide, get away from us. And we just stop. We see Kynan not murder the 3rd one. We call Kynan off. Kynan, stop, come. And we approach the one who's wounded and moaning. He's going in and out of consciousness just out of sheer pain. And we stomp him out with 1 foot. It's the one with the red wig uniform that we first met. And we lean in with hate in our eyes. You will tell us everything. Are there more of you? What was your plan? And he begins to spatter out questions. This will be a compel, and we are threatening them, so we will roll with iron. It's a miss. Oh my god. Sure, let's roll an oracle. Your action has unintended effects. Before he can answer, we unintentionally press on his chest, and we begin to talk down with more and more hate, which is coming out of somewhere. Thorgan doesn't even feel it. He just crushes and crushes and crushes, and the man begins to scream, burbling with blood in his mouth, and he just faints and dies as we don't break his ribs, but we deny him oxygen, and he bleeds out before he can answer anything. Thorgan spits out of sheer anger, cleans himself off the mud on his pants and fur and earrings. And we need to go back to our folk. As we get back, we see the people of Broken Helm kind of sitting down nearby where we left them in a drier patch. And a few of the guards stand up, raising weapons, but they see us and they lower it. What happened? And Thorgan explains that they were bandits. He took care of them. We'll just need to find another way. Thorgan and Bruce look at each other, and Bruce has this not worried look on his face, but of like, this is the curse. You need to take care of it. I told you so. Let's undertake the journey and hope this is the last one. A weak hit, which brings us up to 10, but we lose more supplies. Let's try to reach our destination. Is it the place that we want to be at? It's a weak hit. You arrive but face an unforeseen hazard or complication. Envision what you find. Ask the oracle if unsure. What do we find? Maybe the settlement has problems? Attack is imminent. Okay. So, as we slog our last hours of the day and we reach Redwick, this small settlement that is primarily sunken into the marsh. They've built barricades all around so the water doesn't pour in, but the ground here is sickly, it's blighted, it doesn't get enough water, or the water isn't rich for some reason. All of the buildings are crookedy, and the people here are very strange. They're very melancholy, slow, and they don't show much emotion. And as we arrive, a few guards greet us, but after we explain the situation, they let us in. But just as Thorgan stands there next to the guards at the gate, looking his people begin to flood into the town, he hears a horn blasting in the distance. He looks at the guards. They draw out their weapons. What's happening? The guards look at each other. The guards look very angry at us, and we don't know what's happening. This could be either Mitan men catching up to us, or maybe the one bandit we let go. We don't know. I would fulfill the vow, but our people aren't safe. An attack is coming, so we need to bear whatever attack this is, and then we can fulfill our vow. Thorgan looks around, he puts his hands up. There's no time for blaming each other. Let's move, gather your forces. And Thorgan begins to usher everyone in. Move, move, move. Everyone begins to run into the town. The barricades that they make perfect walls, and they are spiked shape. Close the gates, he tells the guards. He begins shouting commands, gathering forces, and we'll try to secure an advantage with the heart, because we're using our courage. Courage, Mary. On a weak hit, you take your advantage is short-lived, take +1 momentum. Okay, so we see these attackers coming in faster than we're expecting. We managed to get the people in, we close the gate, but the forces are scattered, they're not formed into troops, and arrows begin to rain down, but they're not quite as close to reach us. Let's ask the oracle. 50-50. Are these the Mitan men chasing us? No. So I would then say it's almost certain then that this is the bandit that we let go. Are these the Redwick hunters? Yes, okay. The one bandit that escaped went and got his posse. Maybe the four were just like scouts or a small troop located to attack hunters or merchants or anyone passing by. But now they've reported to their head, to their leader, and they're attacking Redwick. Maybe they were trying to ambush us or catch up to us, and we just made it in time into Redwick. The guards shuffle, put out their weapons. We see Redwick isn't well armed. They look similar to the hunters we just took care of, poorly armed, with poorly made weapons or old rusted weapons, using short bows, dressed in ramshackle armor, pieces of it mostly studded leather, no metal. We start to look around. We recognize the one bandit kind of leading the flanks, blowing the horn. We look at the guards. Is there anything about these hunters? Do they have anything we need to watch out for? This will be gathering information. It's a mess. Your investigation unearths a dire threat or reveals an unwelcome truth. You are separated from something or someone. It will be a siege on Redwick. As we begin to ask around the guards, we see fear in their eyes, some of them shaking, the younger ones. And as one of them is about to say something, we hear this high-pitched blare, similar sound to a war horn, but different and almost reverberating. And we hear Kynan whinge and then straighten up, almost like a dog on a blood path that just found tracks of an animal bleeding. And Kynan darts off towards the approaching attackers. They have that, the guard mutters. They have a mystic who can control beasts and use them against us. And we begin to see a woman riding a bear at the front, blowing this almost like a shell-formed horn. And amongst the folk, we see a wolf, the bear that the woman is riding, and now Kynan joining the ranks. Thorgan clutches his spear firmly, swallows, and prepares to take on the siege of Redwick. Pum pum pum. And that's where we will end. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.